Robbie, when will it end? Chelsea play another wounded rival. This time it's Man United and fail to take all 3 points. Let's get into it.
And blue is the colour. Essien! Drogba! Lampard! That could be the championship!
Greetings! Welcome back to Couch Critic with me, Dennis P, for what is another Chelsea match review, but more specifically a tactical synopsis of Chelsea's performance at Old Trafford versus Man United. Before I get into all that, ladies, gentlemen, friends, foes, please do me a big favor. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you're a bad man, you will hit that bell notification button to keep up with the latest and the newest. And of course, I gotta let you know about my sponsor. They go by the name of Major League Socks. And fellas, if you ever want to walk in the footsteps of greatness, you know what to do. Hit them up. The link will be in the description. Okay, so Chelsea traveled all the way up to Manchester to play Manchester United at Old Trafford. And despite having all of the possession, all of the chances, were only able to get a point from that fixture. And it was courtesy of Marcos Alonso. Who would have thunk it? In this match review, I know you guys are getting frustrated. I'm getting frustrated too. I'm going to be focusing on Chelsea's attack, specifically Chelsea's attack in the final third. Man, I mean, I'm going to be sounding like a broken record again, guys, but there's some things I just got to get off my chest that pertain to this match in particular. So I'm going to be focusing on Chelsea's attack. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but there is going to be a ranting portion to this because there's just a lot that I have to just get off my chest and, you know, put it to bed for once and for all. Okay, so Chelsea played their traditional 3-4-3. We had Kai Havertz playing on the left flank. We had Timo Werner going through the middle and Mason Mount on the right. And it was very fluid up front. You can tell that there's a lot of movement between the 2 or 3 attackers. But predominantly what we did see was Havertz on the left, Werner through the middle, and Mount on the right. And we were very much in control of that match, for large chunks of this game. Chelsea had oodles of possession, like more than they needed really to really impact the game, and just did not take any of the opportunities that were presented to them. Now, much of what I'm going to say today is going to be just ripping on the final third portion of the game, but I should also predicate that by saying that United are a very, very poor squad right now. They're already on the beach. They're already looking to next season, and anyone that is playing in their setup right now just does not seem like they're at it, with the exception of Ronaldo, who seems to be scoring at will at this point. But Chelsea basically set up with their 3-4-3, but it played more like a 3-2-5 because our wingbacks would just press way up the pitch. And if you notice, all of the space was available on the flanks, and of course Reece James used it extremely well. Obviously my man of the match as well. We'll get into that. Alonso was just isolated in acres of space as well. Obviously didn't use it as well as Reece James in terms of like fashioning goal scoring opportunities, but he found himself in lots and lots of space, and a lot of that was just basically down to the fact that United played their 4-2-3-1. They were very, very narrow, so Terrace and Dalot were basically just tucked inside the 18, and none of their wingers, whether it be Rashford or what was the other guy, Alanga, were tucking back in to help defend. So Chelsea basically had them hemmed in for the entire game from minute 1 to minute 90, and as much space as we had in the wide areas, we just did not have anything that resembled an attack in the 18-yard box. It was quite pathetic. It's not just the finishing with this squad. It seems to be the finishing. It seems to be, the final ball when we do get, the opportunities. It seems to be the decision making in the final third, and just the recognition. All of these things were just on display in this particular match, and it's definitely grown beyond just, Chelsea just needs somebody to just be a striker for them. Chelsea needs somebody to create opportunities. Chelsea needs somebody that is, an offensive thinker. Chelsea needs somebody that can organize their final third, build-up. And none of that is happening at the club currently right now. None of that. All of our opportunities came from either Reece James or Alonso. And, the opportunities that we did work it and fashion it to somebody like Mason Mount in the final third, he was just very wasteful, not just with the goal scoring opportunities, but the chance creation, the ability to put somebody in a great position to finish the ball, to finish it off, and score goals. Like, all of these things were missing. Like, he had a horrific first half, like turnovers over and over again. And, he grew into the match. I'd say like about the 60-minute mark of the second half, he started to find his game a little bit more, like, angling balls, like diagonal balls across field to shift, get us into space again. But, overall, the quality that you want to see in the final third was just not there, just not there. The recognition, the understanding, the basically the chemistry, just none of that was on display from him, from Werner. Kai Havertz, despite being a young guy, you expect him to be better on the ball when we're looking to score goals. Like, he's clear in on goal. Conte plays him in. One of the very few opportunities that we've created from our midfield. And you expect him to finish that. Like, this is a guy that, you expect him when he gets inside the 18 to not only, score or test the keeper, score, but, be that difference maker there. I don't like the fact that we pay £71 million on potential alone. I like the fact that if you're paying that sort of money for a striker, for, somebody that is, supposed to be a talismanic figure for you, you want to see him in those opportunities, in those moments. Take the opportunities that are presented to him. You talk about in the second half, Chelsea break with numbers 3v2, 2v1, and we just fluff every opportunity we get, whether it's the final ball, whether it's the recognition, whether it's the actual finishing. It's always Chelsea that in the final third just capitulate. And that counter in the second half where Havertz is just holding onto the ball, galloping into space. He's got Conte on one side, and he's got Timo Werner in acres of space on the right. And, the decision to, once you approach the final third, get into the 18, the decision to try and play a reverse pass to N'Golo Kanté, who's not the best finisher anyways, instead of playing it into your striker. I want to show you guys this, because this is the image of this particular move right here. And look at the body position of Dalot here. Like, he's not even looking to, engage with Timo Werner. If you play in Timo Werner there, what you're going to see is Dalot's going to have to spin to basically recover. And, you have Timo Werner basically 1v with the keeper at that point. And the decision is to try a very difficult reverse pass to N'Golo Kanté. This is what I'm talking about. Not just the execution of the ball, but the decision making. Like, why are you playing that there? Like, what is the point there? What were you hoping to accomplish there? All of the action was definitely down to the right where there's tons of space. Even if Timo Werner gets on it, uses his pace to get in behind, and then he squares it back to Kai, that's a better opportunity than trying to play out to the left where, Conte may not be man-marked, but he's definitely not in the most preferred position in terms of like goal-scoring opportunity. You just wish that he makes better decisions when you're in situations like that. But you think about teams that like to play on the counter, teams that like to get out in numbers. Like, all of them have orchestrated moves when they're breaking, and you have an understanding of where the next ball needs to be. Who needs to be where. And just whenever Chelsea get into these opportunities, it's like, a chicken with their head cut off. They don't understand where the ball's supposed to be placed. They don't understand where the next move is. They don't understand what is going to get the optimal return, and if it's not that, then it's, once we play that final ball in, the decision making there is either poor or we're just not taking the opportunities. And to say this, after Chelsea spent, I can't tell you how much money on the attack in the last 3 years, whether it be Ziyech, Pulisic, Werner, Havertz, Lukaku. I'm sure I'm missing somebody too. All of this money, all of this investment has gone into Chelsea improving their attack. And I don't think that we've been any further than we were even 3 years ago. We're exactly in the same place. We still don't have people that can take these opportunities. We still don't have people that can think about what it is we're trying to do in the final third and like orchestrate an attacking move that produces a goal. All of this, everything that was available to us in the first half was available to us again in the second half. United playing very narrow. And, you just expect Lukaku who's fresh coming into the game, to use his pace, his physicality, all of these things to try and get himself into positions to score goals. And, the one thing that you cannot rely on Lukaku for is when we're in tight spaces, where we're, the defense is like 3 to 5 meters apart, low block defense. You just can't trust his touch. He does not have a tight enough touch to manipulate the ball through these spaces. So what purpose does he have other than trying to get on the end of crosses? And for the life of me, the opportunities that were created by Reece James on that right flank, where he was whipping in crosses, Mason Mount whipped in a beautiful ball to Timo Werner, you expect him to just tap it in. You expect those opportunities to still be presented when Lukaku comes onto the pitch, but we're not getting those opportunities because he's not putting himself in the position to get on the end of these things. So what is the point then? I'm looking at the type of play and the style of play that Tuchel wants to play, and it just seems like we have the wrong setup. We have the wrong sets of individuals to execute his game plan effectively. Like, obviously what we know is Thomas Tuchel wants to play with lots of energy, high energy, press high up the pitch, use our strikers to be the first line of that press. And, that requires a lot of energy. Maybe that's part of the problem. The fact that they're using so much energy to press the ball and move and this, that. And then once they get into the final third, once we regain the possession and get into the final third, they're probably just out of breath. And the first thing that goes is your mind, your thinking, So, there's a fatigue factor there possibly. But in terms of our purchases, I don't think that Chelsea have made any real purchases the last couple of years with the style of football in mind. Even under Frank Lampard, we brought in Timo Werner, we brought in, Kai Havertz and Ziyech, and we're supposed to be a possession-based team. You can make the argument that Timo Werner is not the most sound. He's probably just as close to Lukaku in terms of technique and, close control. And, this is the guy that we fashioned the final balls for. But, Ziyech, he's camped out on the right. Can he play effectively in possession? Can he use his pace to get in behind? No. So Kai Havertz, you like to see him come near. He's very good at collecting the ball and moving it and getting into great areas. But I just feel like for him, strength, stamina, and finishing quality is lacking. So you go into the next offseason now and you bring in Lukaku, who, after seeing Chelsea fluff so many chances the year before, you're thinking all we need is somebody to just finish it off, just be a finisher for us. You spend £97 million and you expect him to be that guy for you, and it's just an eyesore. He doesn't fit the system of play that we're trying to play right now. We're trying to be that forward-thinking, possession-based team, and you got a striker that is not good in possession and a guy that does not press effectively. Who's making these decisions? Why are we bringing in people that do not fit the style of football that we're actually trying to employ at the club? I have no problems with Lukaku in terms of his ability to finish opportunities, but when we're not playing the style of football that he's accustomed to, which is basically counterattacking, running at defenses, what is he going to offer you that you're going to be able to utilize? He's not putting himself in the positions, he's not good in tight spaces, so he's not putting himself in the positions where he could, manipulate the ball and dribble past, or, spin off a defender and get in behind. All of these things are just things that are not really part of his game. And when he does use his movement to get in behind, we also don't have that, that offensive thinker, the brain of the attack, who recognizes these opportunities and plays it into them. With Mason Mount, I think the biggest problem is he's not a number 10, out and out number 10. He, to me, is more of an 8, a guy that, could come into the box late, a la Frank Lampard. He's a guy that, isn't the one that you want fashioning the final ball because he doesn't always see those opportunities, but he's a guy that can provide that for you. But I think that we're overusing him in these roles. We need somebody that can actually, be decisive for us in the final third, somebody that understands what we're trying to do in the final third and fashion moves for our finishers, and I don't know, guys, it's just really frustrating for me. Time and time again, we come back and we see the exact same problems. Chelsea, create enough opportunities from wide areas. Reece James, what a performance from him. Puts it on Kai Havertz's head, and all you expect him to do is just direct it anywhere, and it's a goal, and he puts it right into the keeper. These opportunities come every game when you see Reece James in that final third. We don't have anyone to make the right sort of runs, to make the right sort of reads, to get into areas to score goals. And after the money that we spent on attackers, the likes of 71 million for Havertz, another, 50 some odd million for Werner, another 50 some odd million for Pulisic, 97 million for Lukaku, almost 40 million for Ziyech. It's a lot of investment for very little return. You look at the last 2 seasons, the goal return in the Premier League that we got from these, attackers is paltry. We have to address this. I know a lot of people are banging on about what Chelsea need to do in the next offseason. We're losing Rudiger, we're losing Christensen. Obviously, we have a midfield crisis because we're not getting the thrust, the goals, the ideation from our midfield. So we're going to have to bring somebody in that could, help us in that regard. But is that the only place that we need help right now? Do we not also need help down the flanks? Do we not also need help in attack? It's a major surgery if we're going to continue on playing this style of football. We rely heavily on wingback play, and when Reece James is injured, do we have the depth of squad to bring somebody in that can give us not like for like, because in my opinion Reece James has reached the level where he's world class. He's probably the best right-sided midfielder, wing-back, right-sided in world football right now, in my opinion. Like, he gives you everything, whether it's going forward or defending. He is the complete package. So you're not necessarily looking for, a like for like, but just somebody that can give you something in the final third, even 70% of what Reece James can give you right now, right? And we just don't have that. We wondered why Tuchel was after Hakimi. It's because he understands that wingback position is very demanding, and you're not going to be able to play 60-odd matches at that level, up and down the pitch. It's also probably why he says he wants Reece James to play 55% of the time as a wingback, and then 45% of the time as a CB, a right-sided center back. It's not because he doesn't think that Reece James is exceptional in the wingback position. It's just a very demanding position. You cannot argue with Reece James in terms of what you get from him match in, match out. And to go to Old Trafford again and be such a big fixture, not because of United being in great form or whatever, but it's because it's Old Trafford. This is where the arena where you want to see big performances from your big players, and he steps up and puts in a man of the match performance. These are the types of performances that lead me to believe that he is going to be Chelsea's next captain, or who I'd like to see as Chelsea's next captain, because he just never falters. He always rises to the occasion, and that's precisely what you want in a leader. Someone that you on the pitch, he's going to give you a 9 out of 10 performance. But I do think I'm going to wrap it up there. Chelsea traveled to Old Trafford, and unfortunately, we're just inept in that final third, and we emerge with a 1-1 draw, 1 point. And in the game, another big game against a rival where you expect Chelsea to just take the game by the scruff of the neck and just put these guys to bed. We've seen other rivals put them to bed quite easily, and we just keep on stumbling at that final hurdle. When we get the ball in that final third, we just don't know what to do with it. And, I think that really needs some serious addressing in the off-season. No arguments about Reece James. This guy is his quality. He's world class. He's everything that you want in a right-sided player. Wing back, full back, right-sided center back, attacker. Whatever you need, he provides. And it's for this reason why Chelsea have to do whatever it takes to keep him at the club. No questions about it. He is a dynamo. The best thing that has come out of Comet, as far as I'm concerned, in terms of quality and in terms of just overall ability. Obviously John Terry's another one, but since John Terry, we haven't had anyone like Reece James. And yeah, but we move, we just gotta move on. Obviously there's big news coming out today. It looks like the Bowley bid has been accepted, and he is going to be the preferred bidder to put his offer in front of Roman, and more than likely will be the next owner of Chelsea Football Club. So I didn't spend a lot of time getting into the specifics of the ownership and the bids and all that stuff, because it's just something that we don't know much about. We heard in the very late hours that Jim Ratcliffe came in and put in a bid as well for $4.25 billion, and who knows? Is that still something that might be considered, or is it just the Bowley offer right now? If you ask me, I think Bowley and his consortium have done enough to win over the supporters, to win over just Chelsea in general, the entire club. And for that reason, I don't have a problem with them making that bid. I don't care where you're from. I really don't. It's about what you do. He's assembled a squad, or he's been involved in teams that have won in the past, and he seems like he's committed to winning. He's obviously going to put his money where his mouth is, and he has to invest in this club, invest in the stadium and whatnot. And best of luck to him with all of that. But ultimately, I'm just glad that this whole saga is over and it's done, put to bed, because we have a lot of work to do in this off season. you know, we need to be assembling a squad that can contend for the Premier League title. You know, we need to be doing that. We need to be matching the efforts of Man City and Liverpool at this point, and we're just falling shy of that because we don't have anybody in the final third that has a clue of what to do when they get there. So, you know, let's hope that this new consortium can get together real quickly and, you know, put together the final packages of this bid and move into the off season, you know, and get the players that we need to be effective in the final third, get the players that we need to be effective to title challenge, challenge for this title. You know, that's what it's all about. And, you know, if they're committed to winning, as I assume they are, they're going to want to hit the ground running. And that means, you know, addressing all these holes in the squad. But fellas, you know what to do. Keep the blue flag flying high and up the Chelsea. Peace.